Following on from sharing my testimony in the last of these little chats, this time I wanted to share a couple of things that happened to me at that moment, the moment that I opened myself up to receive Jesus. One of them, the first one, just before that point, just before I received Christ, I was very jealous of the guy that was sharing the faith with me, that he'd had this lifetime of Jesus in his life, and why had God left it till now for me? I was 24 then, and I'd been through quite a lot of ups and downs in my life, and I was very jealous of the fact that he'd got God before I did. And obviously I had to humble myself in order to receive Jesus, and I just shook that off. It was a feeling, it was a transitory feeling sort of thing, but it was a real feeling. And I mean, you could say it was the flesh or the enemy or whatever trying to trip me up and stop me from receiving. But no, I really wanted God in my life, but the moment I believed, that recentered. I was no longer the center of the universe, that I could only see the world through my eyes and through my experience. Now I was looking at the world with Jesus in my life. It was a completely different point of view. And so if you got $1 million, pounds, whatever in your bank, that wouldn't make me jealous. I'd not be thinking, well, why did you get that and not me? It just, I've seen it. I mean, this has happened in my life, and it's something I know has kind of been removed from me. That it's up to God what he does. So that's, who am I to argue with God? And I'm happy that I've got Jesus. It doesn't, I mean, I've got a lot more than a lot of people have got. I've got the infinite more than a lot of people have got, in that I have Jesus in my life. The other thing that I wanted to share was that the other thing that changed in my life, I should say, was that a realization that everything I'd been taught up until that point was based on a lie. And it was based on the lie that says there is no God that interacts with the world. There is no God in charge of the world. I can remember, when a disaster happens, what happens? People suddenly, we're all told to pray by our leaders, or they're all praying, and you think, well, that's quite tokenism, really, isn't it? It's to suddenly turn around and say, oh, now we need God, but we're not praying when the times are good. And I can remember the Chief of Police of Manchester saying that he believed in God and that he prayed to God and that he believed that God answered him and spoke to him. And it was all over the papers, front page news, this nutter, this guy's a complete lunatic, he's just paranoid schizophrenic or whatever. In fact, somebody said to me, the guy leading me to faith said to me that, if we talk to God, that's prayer, but if God talks to you, that's paranoid schizophrenia. This is crazy. So yeah, there was a big shift for me in this reality of everything I'd been taught, that it was based on a lie, and I now needed to find out what I'd got myself into. And the only way I knew to do that, it was kind of instinctive. I just had this huge urge and desire to study the Bible. I really wanted to get to know what I was involved in. And it wasn't like a lot of things in life where I might think, oh, I really want to find out about that, and I read a couple of pages and then I'm not interested anymore. No, this has been there all through my Christian life. I have just not stopped looking at the Bible, finding out, listening to Bible teaching, getting books and things that are recommended and things, and just devouring it as much as I can. And it's been quite a journey, a real up and down journey, but it's been great. You know, it's just that mind shift, I suppose. And I just wanted to share that with you in case you'd not sort of thought about it, or whether you have thought about it and you've never heard anyone else talk about it. So there's two things really, I suppose. One was a recentering of my world, that I was no longer the center of my universe. Jesus is now the center of my universe. And the other one was the shift from, you know, having been brought up with this lie that God isn't real, he's not in charge, he may be up there somewhere looking down on us, but he's left it up to us. You know, God helps those who help themselves kind of attitude. And then now, should say, that we have been moved over. We are now in a different reality. We are in the reality of a God who is in charge of the world, and he can interact and does interact with his creation. So I hope this has encouraged you, just this little chat. And if it has, then please leave a like. If you want to hear more of the stuff that I'm sharing on grace and the love of God, then please subscribe, and you'll get notifications when I release videos. And yeah, God bless you.